Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining back in. Thank you. Mr. Show, you have the floor, please. Okay, Mr. Show is trying to connect his audio back. So kindly exercise some patience. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Mr. Oluseun, are you back on?
I'm back on. Do we wait a bit and do we have everybody here?
We don't have everyone, but we have a good amount of people. So we could wait or we could just start. We're recording. So after this session, we're also going to share the recording as well.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much. And we talk about skill. How do we scale? Because like I said, one of the key things that could kill an organization if we choose to scale wrongfully. And one of the things I always pay attention to that, to know that if we have a mindset, we start businesses, and we already have networks that are supporting us in terms of advice, funding, and things like that. It's also very important to scale. One, you can scale too fast, and that's the end of the business. Now, you can scale too slow, and that's also the end of the business. For example, let's look at an organization that scaled too slow. So you have, and when I mean scale, I'm also not just looking at in terms of just doing more things. It's about putting innovation within your product so that you can actually reach more people. So let's look at an organization like BlackBerry. BlackBerry could have innovated. The landscape was changing around the mobile operating system, and everybody was either going to be an Android some way or to be an iOS, and somehow they couldn't just even figure out without a way to understand. They were stuck in their own OS system and they could not do that right. Or you could read the story of Toys R Us, where they were opening shops everywhere with private equity money and things like that until you had to shut down. The reality is businesses can easily die if you scale in an haphazard manner. And what I always advise is this: your ideas are always going to be valid almost in every context of society that you're going to build. But is every context the right space for you? And so when you're scaling, you think about just one thing first. Let me put it that way. As I put it down in my note, you think about just one thing first. You think about how does this accelerate value for me? And how does this accelerate value? If it keeps us where we are, let's say we're doing 10 we're doing 10 million worth of goods per month in a place. And we do our feasibility studies on, which is what I'm going to call, what I'm going to put in play. And we see that there is an opportunity somewhere. The first thing that it's not going to be that it's going to make another 10 million naira for us, because we might be doing 10 million naira here, and our cost of sale is 8 million naira. So we're only making 2 million naira. We're not going to be in another place and we still set 10 million naira and we still make 2 million naira. But we are expecting our scaling to that environment will draw us. That single unit will take us to 20. We bring 20 or 25 million to us, or has a potential to bring that size of amount of money for us. There's someone that is doing amala business in Surulere, and now it looks like, oh, Lekki people also would like to eat amala too, and scales to Lekki, because he understands that any power is much more stronger in Lekki. There's a much more younger population in Lekki and things like that. Scaling is something that you must see, look at the acceleration power of what you're trying to do. Does this actually accelerate value within the organization? And the first thing that you must pay attention to is you must research. It's very, very wrong to scale on a blind value, to just say, I have a feeling, I have a gut feeling. Let it be guided by data. Let your expansion be guided by data. Let a new shop that you are trying to open, a new outlet that we are trying to open, not be guided by gut feeling, but you have taken a look and a view of the whole parameters you have, and you feel like, yes, if I put these resources, if I put this opportunity there, you're going to scale. And this is the reason why I say that it must accelerate you. Don't believe that if you have 10 million naira in A now, and you want to open another business that will generate 10 million naira there, you are likely going to take from the residual capital you have from the first business to scale it to the second business. Now, if that does not accelerate you beyond where you are right now, there is no point. There is no point. It's very extremely important that you put data forward and not emotions when you are trying to do scaling. And after you've tried to define what's best, the data advises you about what exactly is best on this. The thing about scaling is learning. Learning is also very important. So listening to the context, listening to contextual environment. Maybe because if you do your data work well, you would see that, let's say I have an eatery business here, and I feel like, oh, there's a lot more people. But have I taken a look at how many eatery businesses are there? How much foot traffic do they have with all the eatery businesses are there? Have I asked the people that ate there, say, did you enjoy your meal? What do you think that these guys could do better? Have I put my position on the basis of that? Have I tried to even listen to whatever I was wrong within that environment that I'm jumping myself into? In budgets, if they even want to open up in a new country, it take at least 3 months to listen, to find out to listen to the people. There's a need for you to listen to your potential customer in that place. Just because it works in contextual A doesn't mean it's going to work in B. And that listening is part of your data gathering on a continuous basis. That listening is part of what you will need to make your business bigger. Then the third thing I would say is your unit economics has to be right. Your unit economics has to be right. So don't be afraid of failing. I mean, if you open and you will see, I read Stanbic IBTC, Standard Chartered Bank is trying to close 50% of their branches. I'm sure they looked at the numbers, they looked at it all and said, this is not worth it. Maybe we are trying to now be a digital new bank while we having many, many offices everywhere. So what we are thinking clearly is that we need to close these branches. So let it be your unit economics be right. It's extremely important that you don't look at things on an aggregate. You look at things on unit basis. Even as us as a non-profit, you're asking ourselves, does this unit bring resources to the organization? In budget, we have the budget team, we have the tracker team, we have the extractive team, we have the project, the special projects team, we have the open government and institutions team. We're asking ourselves, does this unit bring resources to the organization? So definitely we are hunting every team, hunting every person to ensure that resources drag into the organization, and they drag in because we want to do good work. So I'm going to always advise you, that as much as possible, pay attention to putting in a good work, or make sure that you also look at the unit economics. So if you work in a bank, for example, that even each of the branches have a P&L. They have a profit and loss account. The US head office will distribute its cost on all the branches in the context of how big they think they are. This is supposed to be a tier A bank, this is supposed to be a tier B branch, it's supposed to be a tier C branch. That determines how much head office unit cost you get. So you are assessing a branch to say, Are you effective? Are you efficient? Are you bringing the goods? Are you effective? Are you transformative? So not like us. So that unit economics supposed to be clear to you. So you can make decisions not just on emotion, but the basis of data. I think at this point I will stop. I will leave a bit of 10 to 15 minutes for questions. Then we'll come back, then we wrap up. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oluseun. It was a very powerful and insightful session. I was following you all through from the beginning when you talked about the mindset and how it influences how you build your network and how your network helps you to scale. So it was really insightful and definitely learned a whole lot. So everyone, if you learned something, I would like you to, put a comment in the chat box. Let us know what you learned, what really stood out for you in this session. And then if you have a question, this is a great time to ask. This is a great time to ask your question. So please put your question in the chat box, or you could raise your hand and then Mr. Oluseun would take your question. And we do not have so much time. So please, if you're asking a question, please do so now, so we can move swiftly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Seun.
It's a pleasure.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir, I'd like to ask a very important question. The demographics in Nigeria and starting a business in Nigeria is very tough. So I also mentioned timing, like Uber and YouTube, they came at the right time. I don't know whether they were very strategic in how they build their business in terms of timing, but they were able to scale quite quickly in terms of their consistent efforts. But looking at a country like Nigeria, when they're talking about timing, is the question of timing really feasible, or is it a matter of luck or something in between timing and luck in building a successful business in Nigeria?
I don't think there's anything that would be particular. There's anything I would say any leading business in Nigeria differs from anywhere in the world. Yeah, we can agree about it's harder. We can agree about the cost of doing business. But when it comes to an idea, timing is extremely important. And I think we always we underflog that when you see an idea does not work, or you might think that the entrepreneur didn't put enough time, they didn't put enough effort into it. And I look a lot, there's a buzz now that a lot of people are fundraising millions of dollars up and down. And you would think that it's just because you look at some of the ideas and you walk back 5, 6, 7 years ago. Some people also tried to make a case for this idea, but they didn't get our support. They didn't get our support. So it's extremely important that you pay attention into your ideas. It's extremely important that you pay attention into is this a season for the idea? And that's why you push to your length. But if this environment is not receptive to that idea, it is not just what it is. So I will always say, I would say luck. Yeah, a bit of luck in there. Sometimes the environment just conspires to say all of this has been done. Just come and walk into it and make it happen. That's something I always feel about my own budget. I believe that if anybody did not do, if I didn't do budget, someone else was going to do it in another 1, 2, 3 years, or even immediately sell. That's just the reality. The opportunity is there. Too many people are thinking of the same idea. What would differ? Everybody's, you notice that when you have an idea, you find like 3 or 4, 5 people are also thinking of the same idea at the same time. Just because the opportunity becomes rational to a lot of people or to few people at that time. Now, what will make a difference are those two, as the first 2 elements. Who is more curious? Who is more fearless to execute the idea? And that's when the idea that fits that doesn't have fixed time. There's this part of Martin Luther King book. There's this nice book. This is one of my it's called the autobiography of Martin Luther King. And he says, and he was saying that a match will have happened in Selma without him. All of this will have happened without him. He was just there at the right time. And so he had to be extremely humble about this opportunity. And so then you see a lot of entrepreneurs that are very introspective about the opportunities they have. They carry a lot of humility in them because they know that not just because they have all the best idea or the best opportunity or because they have all the sense and they listen to the best motivational speaker. Somehow the timing of that idea has also worked, has helped you, to be able to accelerate what you're trying to deliver. And we have a lot of examples of that here. I mean, of whatever it is now. I mean, look at cryptocurrency 10, 15 years. People are Bitcoin, nobody cared about Bitcoin. But now everybody's talking about cryptocurrency, we want to issue digital coins, we want to issue token and all that stuff. Timing. And so it's always important to put that at the back of your mind. But all you can do is research, learn, observe, and make sure that you're putting the best of work and you're listening to advice and you're trying to reapply and apply that to your work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So iPhone asked a message. He or she is asking, said, "Hi, everyone. Good evening, sir. God bless you for taking your time to impact us. My question is, do you need a skill to network?"
You don't need a skill to network. Do you need a skill? Yeah. Networking is part of your selling strategy. That's just the truth. Networking is part of your selling strategy. It's part of your survival strategy. So you won't joke with that. So most of the people that fund budgets are people that are trying to relate to, not just about the work of budgets. On a personal level, a bit of a curiosity about their life and being able to see how I can help. So even most times when nothing has to do with budget, but you don't have the capacity, and I'm not talking about money here. Maybe a friend asks them to do something for them pro bono, or they are confused about some form of data. Something that comes to my own is acceptable, it can help us, because don't believe this, don't accept this, and you might try to dispute it. There's always that thing that people don't give money to ideas, that people give people money. So in some sort of way, there's a relationship that you have to invest in that automatically now generates people to open up their entire opportunity and networking to you. So you have to see that as your selling strategy. It's part of your own survival of your business to network, to build partnerships gradually with people and making sure that you are in that comfortable space where you can ask, okay, what's the business opportunity here? Or what's the network opportunity that I can afford you at this point? But a lot of times as young people are rushing, a lot of people always say, when you meet Dangote in the elevator, what are you going to tell Dangote? If you meet Dangote in the elevator, what are you trying to tell him is, you're trying to ask about how he's doing, how's the business for him, how is it challenging for him, how you're going to make him feel that he's building one of the biggest business across the world. And now you are trying to say that you're also connected to that value chain, and you also hope that you can build something that's magnificent for Africa. How you appreciate his efforts in hiring 100,000 people and he's using tons of steel and it's there's no, you're going to talk to Dangote, this is my idea, and you are rushing down in 5 minutes and Dangote will say, okay, go, let's go. Dangote is any 1 million ideas. If he feeds his ego a bit and it makes him happy, and he sees that you're also someone that is a dreamer and a visionary that's trying to create a new world for yourself, there's a possibility that he would like to listen to you because you're not ever going to get any meaningful conversation from that elevator space. So it's very important that we are very deliberate about these things and very, very strategic. A lot of times we try to rush into it, but we don't get the best out of that. We quietly are going to build that relationship when it feels convenient for us to now see what are the bigger opportunities that we can explore as people together. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I don't know your name. Your name is iPhone. I guess iPhone is not your name. So, yeah, but you're very, very welcome. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Odinaka.
Oh, Odinaka. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Abubakar has a question, raising his hand.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Please, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Thanks for a wonderful session. So my question is quite simple, but maybe complicated. So I was wondering, like, I'm very interested in artificial intelligence and stuffs that are not like they're not like obvious yet. They're like evolving technologies like NFTs and metaverses, and it's quite difficult to get like mentors and people that can fuel such dreams around you. So I was wondering if you have advice for technologies that are kind of evolving and not like out there yet. Like, how do you move fast apart from learning and researching on your own? I don't know if you have advice on that.
I get your point, and
Yeah.
it's something to I always advise people when you're building a digital footprint, be intentional about your digital footprint. I always advise young people, be very mindful about how you curate your own story on the web, because a whole lot of people, if they're looking for you, they are technically just maybe cruising into the web and saying, okay, what is this person saying? What does this person say? And things like that. My own advice to you is start somewhere, and don't start from what you can afford. Start from what you can afford. Start from the free YouTube videos. Start from the free PDFs that you can find online about artificial intelligence. Start from you understanding that at least you need some basic knowledge in machine learning, before you can even say I'm going to be artificial intelligence upon that. Then gradually, it's fine for you to go do something else. See, the thing about us in life is that we try to live our lives on like an annual basis to say, oh, happy new year, these are my goals for 2022. And because of that, no. Live your life in half decades, live your life in decades, which means you might be a hotel receptionist. Let's just put it that way. But your goals are to be an artificial intelligence leader. Then you're quite intentionally investing the resources you get from that space to live out that dream on a longer term. Because you would be shocked how much you can transform yourself in the next 5 years. But because, like I always thought, I read some, let me not say it's my original quote. We underestimate what we can do in a decade. We overestimate what we can do in a year. So very, very important is our advice: you start small. Start from what is free. Start from what is available. And quietly seek resources, seek opportunities, fellowship programs for AI, learning opportunities for AI, and all of that things that is free, and be able to reach out to people and say, I need a scholarship, I need some form of help. Then graduate, even if you're working somewhere, carry that burden that in another 2, 3, 5 years, I want to be an expert in AI. And so when you get an opportunity for such, make sure that you put in your best maximum efforts into it. But you wait for everything is all set and all the plate is ready and the food is ready and you're now going to die. Sometimes life never serves us in that way. At the end of the day, somehow you're patient and you're deliberate about it, like you write here, the dots will fully connect. So I always advise young people, don't be in a rush to be an entrepreneur if you're not taught how to be one. Be a place intern, go and a place, go ahead and work so you can understand the structure of working. You can understand the structure of an organization. You can understand how to manage an idea. You can understand how to manage people. And gradually, when you get that kind of mindset and different, then you can now build your own business and apply it. And you don't need to say, oh, I'm going to start boom once. Now, you can be working somewhere else and you have someone that's running an idea for you. And when you see that, oh, it's grown to a point that I can subsist on this. Yeah, I can now go forward. So carry a long-term mindset to your thinking. I know a lot of you are young people. Don't let this whole overstimulation of social media make you feel I'm already late, my life is worthless, my life is useless. Because everybody sees the good things on Instagram, nobody sees the scars. So it's very important that you put a structured period to your life. And with God's grace and His mercies, and it will always come up. Thanks.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluseun. It was a very insightful session. And I'm sure we've all learned a lot, even from the questions, I'm sure we've learned, more than one or two things from this session. So thank you so much, Mr. Oluseun, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to have this 1 hour with us, young people, to share your experience and also to offer advice and answer our questions. Thank you so much. So we've come to the end of today's session, and before we go, I just want to just share a few things for those of us in the session who are just coming into contact with Charis Black Project, and you would like to connect with us and know what we're doing. You can follow us on each of our social channels, which I've shared on the chat. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And also, you can also follow our mentor, Mr. Oluseun Onigbinde. He is on LinkedIn. So when you search for him, of course, you will see him there. Principal, founder, and CEO of BudgIT Nigeria. And also you can follow his company handles to see really what they're doing in the organization and how you can also learn from it, practical learnings. So yes, connect with Charis Black Project. And if you're interested in joining our youth community, we are active on WhatsApp. Feel free to click on the link in the chat. I'm going to put it in the chat here. So if you're not yet a part of our community, you can join us by clicking the link in the chat. And we're having more sessions coming up. Tomorrow we're having another session, another powerful session, and I'm sure it's going to be a great learning experience for every one of us here. So stay tuned, check your emails. We're going to be sending key takeaways from this session to your emails. And also a recording of this session. So if you missed any point, you can always go back and watch it again. So thank you all so much for joining in. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Thank you, Theophilus. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, iPhone, Odinaka. Thank you, guest. Thank you, Favor. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Abubakar. See you tomorrow.